This is an absolute shocker. 1 in 4 parents now think it's okay for their children to be absent from school. This according to research commissioned by the Centre for Social Justice, which comes at a time when the proportion of people in England defined as persistently absent from class has more than doubled. That's right, folks. Education for our kids is now an optional extra. And what do you expect after the disastrous and, in my view, wildly failed lockdowns in which we closed schools on and off for 2.5 years to stop a seasonal respiratory virus, and one which, I hasten to add, posed no mortal threat to children who were banished to the loneliness of their bedrooms and useless Zoom learning? Financially, I'm not sure we'll ever recover from these lockdowns, and it's clear that society is deeply damaged too. Most egregiously, young people who were sacrificed at the altar of safetyism. But it's more than a legacy of lockdown. Britain's society and its culture is fast dissolving, with traditional family values torched in the name of progressivism. There aren't enough parents out there now getting their kids up in the morning, getting them properly dressed, brushing their teeth and getting a decent breakfast into them. Thousands of children now go to school hungry. And whilst breakfast clubs are an important and valuable resource, like food banks, they represent a society which is failing. If you bring kids into the world, it's your job to feed, clothe, educate and nurture them. Poor old Bury North MP James Daly got dog's abuse for saying there are too many crap parents in this country who are responsible for struggling kids. Getting pelters for telling the truth. Welcome to the clown world of 2024. The pandemic sent out a message that the state can do everything for you. Keep you safe, put food on the table, pay your rent, and more or less wipe your arse. Well, that delightful experiment in health communism has all but bankrupted the country. Now, families come in all shapes and sizes these days, no problem. But whether it's 2 mums, 2 dads, single-parent households, the foundation of a successful society and a successful country is a strong family unit, with kids being taught right from wrong, taught compassion, hugged when they need a hug, and a harsh word or a firm punishment when that is required too. A bit of carrot and a bit of stick. Just like Sir Alex Ferguson in the Manchester United dressing room. No wonder he was considered a father figure to those players. Whatever happened to fathers? Where have they gone? We've got to start raising kids again. And is it too much to ask them to fulfil their legal duty to actually get them to bloody school? Post-pandemic, there's now the spectre of over 100,000 so-called ghost children, kids that stopped going to school during the pandemic and who never came back. Here's a sobering thought. Those kids have parents, or should I say, crap parents. It's not good enough. Britain is in the grip of a bad parenting epidemic. And if we don't bring our kids up properly, we have no future. Let me just give you one example of a school teacher in a local primary school reduced to tears when she opened the lunchbox of one of her young pupils. Inside the lunchbox was a Mars bar and a can of Red Bull. That was it. Somebody thought that was an appropriate lunch for a child. There are no words. So it's time for parents to parent again, and for society to understand that family values have value. Is Britain in the grip of a parenting crisis? Let me know your thoughts. mark@gbnews.com. I'll get to your emails shortly. But let's hear from my top pundits tonight. Former Brexit Party MEP Annunziata Rees-Mogg, former Conservative MP and farmer Neil Parish, and comedian and broadcaster Sajila Kershi. Annunziata, let me start with you. Are there too many crap parents in Britain?
I think the government has enabled parents to pass over their own responsibilities, that increasingly schools and government departments have dictated how children must be treated, what they must learn, what they must eat, and parents have said, fine, you want the responsibility, take it, and given it up themselves. I think we need to return to the family unit taking responsibility for itself, much more so, with the state there to provide a good education.
Indeed. And Sajila, the point is that families look different now. It's not kind of mum and dad and 2 kids, is it? It's a very varied sort of setup you get, but the principles of family values remain the same.
Yeah, I mean, we've got blended families. I think that's what they call them now. There was even a film about it.
My family's not blended. It's like oil and water, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't, like, crap parents can cross the whole divide. So it's not a class thing. It's not a a party thing. It's not a money thing. You can have, you can be extremely wealthy and still have really rubbish parents.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And in terms of, like, I think where all the blame always lies is on single parents. I mean, I was brought up by a single parent. I was a single parent. It's obviously catching in my family. And you do what you. As a mother, I know you do anything you can to make sure that your kids are okay. When if I had to sell myself, if all I got was a Mars bar and a kind of a fizzy pop, then that's fine. I'm joking. But the point is, you do what you can to look after your
But
kids.
Sajila, not enough parents are doing what they can.
Okay. So I think there are, like I said, there's going to be crap parents full stop throughout regardless. But I think maybe parents also need some support in terms of if they don't have, if it's things like they're going hungry, we must look at that. And that's obviously to do with, their income, if they're not in proper housing. There's all these other kind of social issues that perhaps we need to address. Do we make it too easy for parents to kind of absolve their responsibility? Perhaps, but I think maybe like things like school-free dinners, if your child is going to school, they're at least going to get that free one meal that they're going to be fed properly during the day. The breakfast clubs is a really good idea. So there's also schemes, I have to say, although I'm against, a lot of Tory policies, I think there's a lot of things that also have been beneficial to children.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the breakfast clubs because, Neil Parish, they are a wonderful thing. I salute the teachers and volunteers that organise them, and the kids need it. But I still think it's a sign of a failing society.
Yeah, I mean, I think the breakfast clubs are good. I think wherever possible, if we could actually provide school meals at dinner time would also be good, lunchtime, because I think, whether some parents can't cope, some just don't cope, and you've got to get the children to school. They have they will socialise at school, and so it's not only just the feeding of them, it's the socialising of them, it's mixing of them, and we're living in this age where there's too much done on social media, too much done on their phones, on computers. You've got to actually get them into school. So I think the parents need to be sorted out, but I think the children are the top priority, and school's a good place for them.
I have a fear that as a society we have increasingly handed rights to children, and that instead of being willing to parent them, to teach them right from wrong, to teach them to go to bed, to teach them to eat at the right times and the right kind of things, that they don't like broccoli or they don't want to go to bed.
Tough luck.
Tough. There's got to be a lot of tough love, and we've got to soft. And this wouldn't begin to say bring back the cane or any of that. I think we need to treat our children with respect, but as the adults.
Yeah, what is the ultimate sanction? I mean, Annunziata, when your kids are naughty, do you threaten to send Uncle Jacob round?
Oh, they'd love that. Yeah. He's hilarious. He keeps them far too entertained and gets them going before bedtime, so they'll never go to sleep. But no, I think talking to children, trying to understand why they're feeling frustrated or don't want to eat whatever really can help. But at the end of the day, it is your job as a parent to have rules, to have a framework in which that your children can thrive so that they can grow up knowing the world around them.
More from my brilliant pundits very shortly. But is Britain in the grip of a crap parenting epidemic? Let me know your thoughts. Mark at gbnews.com.